Hey guys, welcome to another Cigar Chat brought to you live on CigarFederation.com. Broadcast around the world in the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thanks for tuning in wherever you are out there in the world today. Here for our 100th episode. We're pretty excited about that. Rob from Cigar Federation here with you as always. Logan hanging out in the garage. How's everything in Texas, Logan?
Well, other than Ebola, we're doing all right. Actually, I had to fly through Dallas Airport yesterday. I had to say I was a little scared. But no, I mean, it's
no
all
joke,
good.
man.
I know. My dad's like blowing me up about going to India, and like I was like, Dad, I might get like some crazy stuff, but I don't think I'm gonna get Ebola over there.
Yeah, watch out for those the open sewers.
Well, you can't be too careful of the open sewers, man.
You really can't. You really can't. Well, that's good. I'm glad. How's the baby? Baby's good?
Baby is doing good. First week of daycare. Mom is taking it progressively better every day.
Oh, that's
and
good.
Dad's loving it.
I'm sure. All right. Well, you guys are all caught up on what's going on in our small little worlds. We've got a very special guest with us tonight. The one and only Jonathan Drew, Drew Estate Cigars, is here to join us for our 100th episode. JD, thanks for taking the time, brother.
Oh, my pleasure, man. You guys are doing something ultra special, and thank you for having us. Really appreciate it, guys. I'm amazed at what you guys have accomplished so far. It's just awesome.
That's a nice compliment. Thank you. It looks like you are in like the coolest study ever. I mean, that room is pretty epic.
I don't know if you'd call it a study. That's very scholastic of you. It's more at this point, it's more of a cluster bomb over here. We have this is my room, and throughout the years, so much stuff has either become products or samples or parts and pieces of things. So, it's a nice look, especially, there's a lot of cool nostalgia here for, throughout the years. So, yeah, it's a pretty cool room, I'd say. Plus, I got a lot of antiques and stuff in here also, stuff that came out of my parents' shop, my parents' cigar shop. So, my parents' antique shop, So you got a lot of nostalgia in both Drew Estate side as well as some personal stuff from my mom and dad.
Cool, very cool. Well, yeah, I say study because I look in the back. Looks like you got some books and some magazines and stuff. For the folks who are listening, you can't see. If you can't see, just go to CigarFederation.com. You can check it out. But it looks like a pretty cool room. But anyway, and some of that stuff I'm sure we'll talk about as the show goes on. So, like I said, this is our 100th episode. It's the first time we've been able to get you on the show. Normally we do kind of a getting to know you portion at the beginning, but we've got a ton of questions we want to get through, so we're just going to jump right in. Everybody's kind of familiar with you, your story, especially all of our viewers and guests watching the show now. Maybe tell us something a little bit about you and the start of Drew Estate that maybe we don't know about.
Oh, boy. Geez, that you don't know about.
Something secret. We won't tell anybody.
We've communicated a lot in terms of our early years. There was, most of the guys who know Drew Estate know that we really started off very raw. We started off pretty much with a couple of $1,000. So, from that side of the story, we've always told it because it's kind of been like, even to us, it's been like, it's that dream, like, if you work hard and you stay committed and you stay passionate and you follow through, you can do it. So we've really shared a lot of our early years. I mean, so much stuff, man. When I tell you something maybe that you don't know, shit. I remember, excuse my language, I remember, I was like, yeah, no problem.
Yeah, no problem. I can totally do this.
Yeah, right, no problem. So, something that you don't know for sure is that I remember in 1999, I remember looking at Corojo leaf being grown in Nicaragua. That was the early days when you think back to Corojo as a product. Now, so many brands, both big box brands as well as boutique brands, so many brands use Corojo material. But really going back to the essence, when Corojo, after its Cuban essence, thinking about Corojo leaf and the genesis of Cuban leaf in the American market, You know, that product was really a product of Camacho. It was Christian Aroa who really was the one who brought Corojo to the American market and developed it as a true innovation. So when you look back to the essence of Corojo, it's a Cuban. The early beginnings are Cuba, and after that in Nicaragua and Honduras, I forget how they marketed the product early on. When Camacho Corojo came out, it was such a game-changing product that when you think about from a Drew Estate perspective, you think about T52. Liga 9 is broadleaf wrapper. I mean, we made a beautiful stick out of it, and it's done good and stuff, but T52 was really innovative because when we did T52, we started working on that product in '05. When we did T52, we really boiled it down to, was it going to be in Brazil working with a Habano wrapper, or was it going to be in the Connecticut River Valley working with a Habano wrapper? And it was a very difficult choice because both materials were in their earliest essence, and that we decided at that time we were going to go with the Connecticut Habano material. That had such a big influence on the market, not just for Drew Estate, but really, if you guys think back to 2006, 2007, 2008, dudes weren't like, oh yeah, this is stalk cut and this is primed material. Dudes weren't having that conversation. Guys were not having that conversation in cigar shops, not cigar shop owners, not cigar shop clerks, not bloggers. People weren't talking about, you know, a stalk curing tobacco, stalk cured tobacco. They weren't talking about that conversation. So it's a conversation that we put out there, and it's not that we invented it because God knows it's been being done for hundreds of years. But what we did was we communicated something. We brought something that has been around and done well for so long in the broadleaf variety, and we're able to take it into a Habano variety in the Connecticut River Valley. And the significance of T52, even though it's not as big as 9, the significance of T52 was true to Drew Estate's ethos. You know, if you go back to acid or you go to the coffee-infused segment with Java and Kahlua at the time, and then you keep pushing forward, the really next big innovation for us was T52 material. When you think about the impact of T52, think back to the year 2000 when Habano 2000 came out. I mean, Habano 2000 changed the entire industry of tobacco. When Habano 2000 came out, I remember Altadis. They came out with Romeo Habano 2000, Monte Cristo Habano 2000, Cabañas Habano 2000. Everybody, Nick Perdomo had Habano 2000. Everybody, other than Padron and a few of the guys who you know don't do as many new products. Habano 2000 was. I remember Lou Rothman trademarked the name, and people were disputing it. It was a game-changing tobacco, again, from Cuba, the original seed, and that was a huge game-changer. But something that nobody really would know, since you asked, is go back to the earliest days of when Camacho Corojo came out, which was always my favorite cigar for many, many years, back from 2000 to 2002, 2003. That product was so powerful. The Habano, I mean the Camacho Corojo, I remember going to that farm in Nicaragua. And again, he might have had a second farm in Honduras. I'm not sure. I can't speak for their company. But I remember seeing what I saw. And I have pictures of it, and I have pictures, about 250 pictures, from all of my first 2 years in Nicaragua, which I've been collecting those pictures and writing a little bit about each of those pictures. And that was, you know, for me, I'm at 18 and a half years right now. Super Bowl Sunday 2016 makes 20 years for me in the business. And back when I first got rocking in Nicaragua, maybe not rocking, I was kind of, you know, balling on a budget. But back at that time period, watching that farm and getting an understanding of what this guy, what this family was doing, this brilliant family, with Corojo material. It was revolutionary, it was game-changing, it was innovative, it was risky, it was thick, hardy, heavy tobacco, and it set a precedent for the rest of the industry. And I think that Christian, that was where Christian really, to me, that's where he really graduated to being a true, for me, a true, not just a cigar maker, but an innovative cigar maker. So that time period for me, I mean, I'm working on these 250 pictures that I have in putting them into perspective of space and time and what was going on. You know, at that time in Nicaragua, dude, you know, Nicaragua had come out of a revolution in 1992 when Violeta Chamorro became president, and then they started doing, you know, weapons deals where people would bring in all their machine guns and all sorts of weapons and stuff. That every house had bullet holes in it. Women were wearing men's clothing, couldn't buy makeup. We only got cell phones like 8 years ago. You couldn't get even a telephone then. You would wait a year to 2 years to get a telephone line, a regular telephone line. So there were so many things during that time period. At that time, you'd think maybe like for every 100 Dominican cigars, maybe one Nicaraguan cigar was sold, maybe 2 or 3, maybe. So now you're at, you know, 1 to 1. We're probably producing as many Nicaraguan cigars on a yearly basis, or maybe even more than Dominican cigars. So really, that time period is full of little tidbits of stuff that nobody would really have a clue. But the thing that I think for me that was interesting is the inspiration that came from the environment around me, both in Nicaragua and Honduras. Of course, from the Padrones. Of course, from Kiki Berger, who just recently passed away. Of course, from Camacho in Honduras, and so many of these guys. I mean, you know, when you talk about Estelo Padron, who was running the Vilazon factory, they weren't sold yet. They were still not owned by General. What was going on with Oliva? You know, they were making Oliva, which we call Olivita in Nicaragua, because you have Oliva from Tampa, and then you have Oliva, who's the cigar company, Oliva V, who have a beautiful factory and a great brand, and we're good friends with those guys. Watching all of these guys through their developmental years, where they were really, everybody was finding themselves, you know, watching these guys develop, watching Carlos Oliva and Gilberto, and the father, Gilberto Sr., watching these guys develop from, you know, great tobacco guys to guys who've changed the industry, you know, it was like, imagine the earliest formation of rap music. Imagine that time period, being around in 1985 and 87, where the Bronx was battling Brooklyn, where Queens was battling the Bronx, where dudes were ready to, like, you know, they weren't just ready to, they were fighting it out, emceeing. They were fighting it out in the street. Dudes were stabbing each other. I mean, it was a violent beginning in hip-hop, but it was also a celebratory beginning. That, in Nicaragua, going to Nicaragua and going to Esteli, seeing 2 places, 2 restaurants to eat, only 2, of which one of them, me and Kiki, wound up taking over the restaurant so we could put Connecticut wrapper from the Mangosa farm, which is a mango farm. They grew Connecticut shade material. Boy, I sold my car. I did everything to try and keep that line of tobacco. Eventually, Nestor Plasencia took it over because we couldn't afford to keep bringing in all that tobacco. We didn't have enough money. But all of those developmental years, I'm working on a project now that, you know, those 250 pictures, which include so many of these little tidbits of information that are not just by themselves sitting in a vacuum, but are surrounded by a movement, like I'm saying to you. Being in Brooklyn at the time where hip-hop, the genesis of hip-hop, being in the Bronx, being there, you know, you see Obey Giant, and you see Shepard Fairey, but being there to see him develop as a kid is a whole different thing than him making pictures of Obama running for president. That time period in Nicaragua, that was the golden era. What you're seeing now, all these beautiful cigars being made, the boutique stuff, the big box brands, all of this stuff across the board, man, this was the time period that Nicaragua had its golden years. Right now, people say we're in the golden era in Nicaragua. From a standpoint of the quality of cigars, I would agree. But from the standpoint, you guys were talking about hip-hop while we were setting up. I heard you guys.
Master P.
You guys were talking about Master P, right?
Yeah.
So I'm saying, you guys, are you hip-hop dudes? That's your
I mean, I know a little bit about the Ghetto D, man, but I'm a child of the 90s, man. One-hit wonders, some Everclear, some Third Eye Blind, Jumper. You probably don't know anything about that, JD.
No.
That's some depressing stuff.
I was a big hip hop guy in my college days. I had a radio show, and we did it was called Midnight Marauders, and we always played classic hip hop. I was a big Wu-Tang guy back in the day. I don't really listen to it much anymore, but I was.
That's all right. We forgive you. But you know what? So when you think about early, you say Midnight Marauders. It's obviously Tribe Called Quest, right?
Yeah.
When you think about the earliest days of Tribe Called Quest, what was going on in Long Island with Tribe Called Quest? What was going on with Biz Markie when I went to his house in Long Island when he was just, he was the cousin of Big Daddy Kane. These kids were just Clark Kent was nobody. You know what I'm saying? DJs that get $100,000 a night now. These guys were De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers. These guys were, not the earliest form of hip-hop, 82, 85, and the Park shit, but these guys, that golden era of hip-hop was something that I'm so fortunate, right, to have lived through, to be able to see that firsthand, Long Island, Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, and of course Staten Island with Wu-Tang a little bit later. Seeing what I saw in Nicaragua, seeing guys, I mean, there was no Oliva V. There was no Oliva Bold. There was no Oliva Master Blends. There was Oliva Bundles. But they were damn good. I mean, the products were incredible. There was no, Padron 1926. It was a whole different world. It was a whole different world. And forget like things like Davidoff Nicaragua or La Gloria Cubana Nicaragua and all this stuff. Nicaragua was experimental. But Nicaraguan tobacco was being shipped to the Dominican Republic. Nicaraguan tobacco was being shipped to Cuba. Nicaragua, in my opinion, Nicaraguan tobacco was being shipped everywhere. And Joya de Nicaragua, the history at that time, I mean, listen, so I got a lot to say about things that you guys may not know. And certainly I shared one thing, which you asked me to share, and that was the rise of the Camacho Corojo. And viewers out there who are Cigar Federation viewers, a lot of these guys, and you guys know me. A lot of you guys know who I am, and the stuff that we've been through, and being out there and being relevant and trying to keep the passion focused, because sometimes we're very passionate here at the company, not just myself, but staying focused has been a challenge, because I like to get into that nitty-gritty, every aspect of tobacco. That's why we've changed the name from Drew Estate Cigar Company to Drew Estate Tobacco Company. It's not just about any one type of cigars. It's not just about premium cigars. It's not just about American pipe makers. It's not just about snus or snuff or dry snus or moist snuff or smokeless or it's the whole gamut of tobacco. It's everything that you can incorporate from thousands of years. I mean, where do you... I watch this stuff going on with FDA. I watch this stuff going on with regulation. I hear people talk about flavored cigars. I hear this stuff and I say to myself, oh, someone will say, that's not a real cigar. Well, what's a real cigar? I mean, what is a real cigar? What is it? Where did it all start? Premium tobacco, started from a coconut. People were smoking out of coconuts, man. In India, they were smoking deer tongue and sage and lavender out of coconuts that were 20% tobacco, 25% tobacco, the rest of it being flavoring. Where did it move to throughout the years as tobacco traveled, like coffee traveled from different parts of the world? The earliest seed varieties, the 5 base points where seeds came from throughout the world. I don't, it's not about, there's historians who could tell you more about tobacco than me. Trust me. And those guys, there's some other dude who can tell you more than them, as smart as they think they might be. But the tangibility to it, being there, being in the cut, being there. I mean, Nick Perdomo, he had his factory 7111 Flagler. It was a beautiful factory. And it was here in Miami. And what they were doing with tobacco at that time, you had Kevin Doyle with Caribbean Cigar Company, which at that time was Santiago Cabana, was distributed through Miami Cigars. And he was this like rising star, you know. Kevin was an interesting guy. Him and Nick kind of started together. They split up, and Kevin came out with Caribbean Cigar Company and busted out with Santiago Cubano, which was the name of a Cuban roller who made cigars in Key West. From there, you know, to Havana Classico and all these other brands, they went public for $12 million. The cigar boom, it was going crazy. I had my kiosk at the World Trade Center. I couldn't get cigars. I used to drive to JR with 10,000, 12,000, 6,000, whatever cash I could generate from the week. I would drive to JR Whippany, and I would buy cigars off the shelf. Mark Goldman at House of Oxford, those guys would give me some credit. I'd work in his store, packing boxes, picking up the phones, doing whatever I could when I was in law school. I mean, working at night. Seeing the development of what is now the cigar market, there was no events the way you see events right now. It just didn't work like that. There was guys, when there was a cigar event, they came in a suit, and they would hold out their cappuccino. Somebody would put some cappuccino in their hand, and they would go and talk to blah, blah, blah. There was no social aspect to cigar smoking. Now we go to a cigar shop, we're talking about our problems, we're talking about our health, we're talking about the kids and the family and this and that. Back then, it was a rich man's game. It was a whole different. It was a whole different algorithm for smoking cigars, the cigar smoking culture. It was just a total different thing. So, you know, man, I'm lucky that I started when I was 25, and I'm now 44. And I'm lucky that I had the ability to move to Nicaragua at a young age when dudes like me weren't starting cigar factories. There weren't these, you know, these other guys who've come in after that I did, who have done just incredible things. I have a long list of guys who I respect a lot who are younger than me or who started after me. Some of them I think, you know, beat the pants off myself or anybody else. I mean, there's a lot of guys out there who I really respect what they're doing. But I was really blessed to be in Nicaragua. As poor as I was, begging sometimes, me and Kiki would, I remember selling apples to get $20 so we could have enough food to pay the workers at the end of the week. We ate potatoes. Dudes was eating potatoes, you know? Potatoes. So, yeah, so I got a lot of very, 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 very cool things that I want to put this. I want to put this media thing together with all these crazy pictures of what was going on at that time period in Nicaragua, and that's something that I just haven't made the time to do it. But you know those old Sony big Mavica, the Sony Mavica, big ass floppy giant discs.
Yeah.
Like the 5.5.
Yeah, yeah, those things. I mean.
He's not going to break one out, because I don't think that there's anything on the earth anymore that can read one of those.
Oh, yeah. Not only do I break it out. Yeah.
Wow.
Come on, man.
Do you have something that can read that?
Yeah. Nick's Factory, New York.
Wow.
Mario at the airport. They're all crazy. Most of them I didn't label because I was busy. But I got a Sony Mavica reader. We got it online for like $100, which was good. So I was able to save all those pictures. So you could save on one disc. You could save 8 pictures, or 1 or 2 pictures and a video. So I got some videos too. Creepy stuff. Real creepy. I know Jesse Fatboy Victims Flores, and he's the head of Subculture Studios, and he's, you know, he's my partner out there in Nicaragua. Him, while he was somewhat slim, he was probably only like 300 pounds. So now you see him, you know.
He's a good guy.
Just the best. Yeah.
This is why I love talking to you, man. I asked you a very simple question, and you went all the way over here, and then you came all the way back, and then you brought out floppy disks. Like,
I got floppies, bro. Hundreds of them. All sorts of stuff.
I don't know how we follow that up. Logan, go ahead.
All right. Well, this one will be an interesting question because it kind of segues into it a little bit. And I'm going to tie kind of 2 questions together, and this will probably be a really good answer, I'm assuming. But before I do, just want to let everyone know they're listening to Cigar Chat on Armed Forces Radio Network, broadcast around the world. Appreciate all you guys' service. And I know you guys have been listening. We have something very, very special. We're not going to share at this moment, but at the 52-minute mark, when we go into kind of the After Dark segment, we're going to be doing a couple of giveaways, but we're going to be doing some epic news that's going to be dropped. Trust me, you do not want to leave unless you're just a complete idiot. So, back to my question. So, JD, you were talking about Liga Privada being kind of such an innovative cigar. I think a lot of people look at the Liga Privada lines, the 9s, the T52s, the Unicos, as kind of the bar in which other cigars are measured against, right? I mean, how do you feel? I mean, do you feel any pressure from that? And if you do or you don't, how does that affect your mindset when you're making additional cigars like the Nica Rustica or anything Herrera Esteli? How does that bar that you've set so high affect how you kind of guide your operations and new cigars you bring to the market?
Well, that's an interesting question, because the Liga Privada brand is really it was a game-changing product for us. Drew Estate really turned the page at that time from not just Liga Privada, but also Cigar Safari. Remember, at that time, man, we had 11 factories that we were operating from. 9, 10, 11. We got to 11 max, but maybe at the time of Liga there was 9. And 9 different factories in Esteli, right? Think about it. Here you are. You went through a cigar boom. Just so people know, back in 1992, the cigar boom started. It ended. Every boom ends. Cigar boom ended in 1998. And when it ended, and dudes were pulling up with tractor trailers of Macanudos, and dudes were like, oh, no, I'll take 100 boxes, not 10,000. Everything changed. The whole world changed. The boom crashed. When that crash happened, Drew Estate was just starting in the crash. And that's when I just moved to Nicaragua in 1998, September. And going back to that, why I bring that up is that thinking about where we came from with the Acid brand being our first national product, let's say, we were always known as the Acid cigar guys. We weren't Drew Estate. We were the flavored cigar guys, infused cigar guys, Acid, Drew, but Drew Estate was really not how we were known. So when we did 6 years of no interviews, so imagine that. Think about that. Drew Estate was not visible for 6 years. We sold products like crazy. But really, only one tobacconist article that we did, which was the one that opened up with Slim Shady, driving back from Managua. We did that because Tobacconist Magazine was a big support and have always been very supportive of us, and they asked us for an interview, so we did it. But until we built the big factory, I didn't want us to do interviews. So we really didn't do any interviews until we built Drew Estate 1. And when we built Drew Estate 1, which we started in 2005, I think we opened on my birthday, July 5th, 2007, it took another year or so to finish with Cigar Safari and the back area. But it was really the development of Cigar Safari at the same time of Liga Privada that started when we started taking people to Nicaragua in September 2008 while the freaking stock market was crashing, right? That's when people started to say, you know what? These guys, they're not just about acid. It's not just about infused cigars. They started walking in and seeing, I don't remember what it was at the time, $6 million, $8 million of tobacco on the shelves, of broadleaf that we were working with, Habano seed material that we were working with, vast inventories of tobacco. I mean, we didn't take any money out of Drew Estate. We didn't take distributions out of Drew Estate. We never took, shareholder distributions, small salaries. We really put everything back into the company. So from that perspective, how do you think about Liga Privada in a vacuum? It wasn't just about Liga Privada. Liga Privada was part of the movement of the new factory, La Gran Fabrica Drew Estate, which you guys have been to our factory yet? But yeah. We'll talk more about that later. But the factory is really, it's the most beautiful cigar factory in the world. People who know Drew Estate, who've come to Drew Estate Cigar Factory, to La Gran Fabrica in Esteli, they know. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It's one of a kind. It is the gem. And that's not to say that there's not a lot of other beautiful factories or factories that make great cigars, because there's many of them. But there's nothing like Drew Estate. And that movement that happened with building the factory and creating this beautiful, beautiful. I mean, absolutely perched on a mountain crest, overlooking half the factory, overlooking tobacco fields with curing barns, with a stream that runs through the middle, and the other half with horses and cows and stuff, and then the 14 cabanas, and on top the guest house with the pool, and then the subculture studios as the next piece with the 36 full-time graffiti artists, and the next piece, the factory, and the colonial style that we set up. Man, it's like the nicest vineyard you've ever been to in California or wherever you could go to see wine, and being able to see that in a cigar setting where it's just designed beautiful. So it was that punch, pow, with Liga Privada at the same time. Trust me, this is all bricks on the wall. You guys know the spiel for me, man. It's bricks on the wall. If you think you're going to hit him with the one punch winner, you know, knocking out Mayweather with one punch, that's not how business works. That's not how I work. You know, it's about the culmination of the years, the culmination of the ideas, putting ideas and executing them. All of those things came together. We had some great help. Nicholas Melillo, Steve Saka, Marvin, myself, Mike Solucci, who's now president, Rubio, Jasenia. The team that we had was just an incredible team. And we did so much together. And, you know, that's the beauty of Drew Estate, is that it's not about John Drew. It's not about any one person at this company. The beauty of this company is that whether it's Joey, our creative guy, Jesse, all the different guys who've been here throughout the years, all of these people have been so special and have added so much to the culture of the company. At that same time, with Cigar Safari coming on and Liga Privada, how do you outdo that? You stay consistent. You stay consistent. You stay true to your ethos. If you don't have the passion for it, then get out. Just get out. Do this or do that or let other people run, you know, but the passion remains strong. So, you know, how do you outdo Liga Privada? You create Kentucky Fire Cure. How do you create, you know, that's how. You dig in. You enjoy yourself. You think. You know, hypothesize. You outdo yourself when you outdo yourself. And then you take risks and you fail. Some of our biggest failures, to me, are paramount to any success. Nosotros with Dion, for me, huge success. I put it out there with Liga Privada. Did the brand do as much? Did I make money? I lost money. I lost big money. But you know what? I learned a tremendous amount. And my friend Dion, who I love this kid, you know, we've stayed very tight throughout all the years. The dude is solid. The guy makes great cigars. He's as true as they come. I'm very, very proud of him. And even though our brand didn't become this beautiful thing that it should have, so many of these pieces add up to the Drew Estate experience. It's not about one brand that people like. Oh, I like the way this cigar tastes. I like Undercrown, Nica Rustica, pa pa pa. It's not about any one piece, man. It's about how do you outdo yourself? You know, sometimes you don't outdo yourself by creating a product. Sometimes you create a cigar. What's the difference between Liga Privada or Drew Diplomat? The Drew Diplomat program coming up is as good as Liga Privada. One is a cigar, and one is media. What's the difference? What's the difference between Kentucky Fire Cure or a tremendous pre-industry at Drew Estate that we just built 61,000 square feet of the most modern, beautiful pre-industry building? What's the difference between those two things? One is a brand that people buy, and the other one is not a brand that people buy. It's a building. They're the same thing. They're monetized differently. They're perceptively, they're looked at differently from a standpoint of one you light up, you put in your mouth, you spark it up, the other one you walk into. But to me, it's all the same. There's no difference in those things. How do you outdo Liga Privada? You make the most beautiful, most modern, most bad, can't say the word because we're on some kind of national. You know what? That's how you outdo yourself. You don't have to think. There's no box. Forget thinking out the box. The box, we're killing the box. It's not even a box. Only box I know, she got a fat ass. You know what I'm saying?
I love it, man. I love the way, I love your...
I can hear you talk for hours.
Yeah, your energy. And I really like the way that you said, it's not about outdoing what you've done. It's about staying consistent, backing up what you've already done, and building on that. I like the way that you responded to that question. That question can be kind of a trap because it's, well, we're doing this, well, we're doing that, but you don't necessarily have to outdo what you've done in the past. maintain consistency and build upon that. I like the way that you answered that. I want to jump in a little bit of a different direction because I'm actually here smoking my beautiful Drew Estate pipe and smoking the Harvest on Hudson. It's the first time I smoked this one, and I'm really enjoying it. It's got some it's freshly cut apples was kind of the tasting note. I'm new to pipes, by the way. Was the tasting note. I'm pairing it with a little bit of Blue Moon spiced apple caramel ale or something. It's actually pretty good together. But so we're going to be doing some more pipe stuff here on Cigar Federation coming up in the next month or so. So what was kind of the impetus of Drew Estate getting involved in pipes, pipe tobaccos? It's been kind of a 2-year process for you guys. You started with the tobacco last year, the pipes this year. What was your impetus to get into that, start moving into the pipe direction?
That's what I love about what we're doing, man. You know, my first experience with Cigar Federation, I was standing in the rain in Fresno, California.
Whew.
Okay? And I was at a store. The guy's name is Micah, and they call him Mika. And at the time, Kyle caught me, and he was like, JD, I want you to know I really respect you, and I would really like for you to talk to Cigar Federation. I said, man, we just did a 5-hour event. I'm beat. It's raining outside. We were standing in the rain. And he just waited, looked at me. I said, but you got it. I saw he wanted to do it, and I was a bit tired. And that was my first introduction to Cigar Federation, and I signed on. I've been a member since, I'm not sure what year, but it could be 2010 or 12?
2012.
11.
Oh, 11.
2011 is when I became a member. And that's what I really love, man. I love the it's not just the energy, it's not just the quest for information, but it's that when you say we've been making pipes, dude, for 2 years, or in the pipe business for 2 years, now that I said what I'm about to say, how long do you think we've been in the pipe and pipe tobacco business?
Well, I mean you're selling the Picadura, I'm sure, so you've probably been in for a while, I would assume, correct?
Right. So it's tobaccos. That's what I tried to explain to you guys early on. Tobaccos, whether you're talking dark air cured, dark fire cured, Virginia, Burley, Oriental tobaccos, Virginias, all these tobaccos, all these different seed varieties, bro.
I feel like this is a Gary Griffith moment.
Look, Kentucky and Tennessee. You see that? University of Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
This tobacco, when you look at seed varieties, it's perplexing. Tennessee seed varieties, Kentucky seed varieties, all these seed varieties, I mean, it's incredible. Just take a look at some of the seed varieties. I don't know if you viewers can see it. It's just incredible. You're able to work with such a diverse, if you're open-minded and you respect the leaf, not just from a standpoint of marketing and not just from a standpoint of hardcore production. It's about this. It's all here. It's not about what you see. It's not about what's just tangible in front of you. It's not what you think. It's much broader, much, much broader. We've been working with tobaccos that are Virginias, Burleys, Orientals, tobaccos that are fire cured since 1999. Since 1999.
Wow.
And that's a fact. These tobaccos that we've worked with throughout the years, we never marketed them as such because those were secrets. Those were things that we didn't want to share with people throughout those years because that was some of our competitive secrets, to use these tobaccos. People wouldn't think that you could use these kind of wild-ass tobaccos to be able to influence your products and the product taste and the product profile. These tobaccos have been being used for hundreds of years. But bringing them back retrospectively and making them speak to the public, the smell, the taste, the aroma, the allure, the beauty of it. The beauty of it. So pipes for us, going into the pipe business, it's not about anything really new. Mike Salucci, the president of the company, has wanted to actually. He's a big pipe smoker, and he's really the one behind. I'm behind it a little bit from the standpoint of I like product development, and I like being part of everything that's going on. But it was really more Mike and Mario, who were really Mike for like the last 8 years, 9 years. He's been wanting to do pipe tobacco, but we haven't had any time where we're actually selling it in its complete form. You can take tobacco that is grown to be pipe tobacco, that's arrested in its development somewhere along the way, or finished or not, and taking that tobacco and using that tobacco in different ways, whether you're ribbon cutting it, whether you're working it in different ways, taking the tobacco, piloning it in different ways. Everything can be adjusted. So, the pipe business per se, like the one you're smoking right there, is that the Robusto?
Mm-hmm.
Or is that it's a Robusto?
Robusto.
That's part of this movement that we're saying, hey, look, you see this little guy right here?
Oh, yeah, it's a cigar
Oh,
holder.
yeah.
That is
Sweet.
badass, man. That's made by Suge in Japan, and that product, it's retro. It's retro. Sometimes it's so for me. I got to say that pipe business and tobaccos that are from in pipe growing areas, tobaccos that would be regional areas where pipe tobacco is typically grown, or tobacco that's used for cigarette variety, or tobacco that's used for smokeless varieties. It's not, you could go to McDonald's. Do they use pepper? Do they use cheese? You can go to a place that's $300 a meal. Do they use pepper and cheese? Do they use eggplant? I mean, what is the cheap all the way to the high end? It's some of the ingredients that they're using are better quality ingredients. Some of the products that they're using are less quality ingredients. But from the standpoint of the actual idea behind cheese, you could go to the cheapest place in the world and have something with cheese, or the most expensive place in the world and have something with cheese. And how you work that, all those material prima, basic materials, how you work those materials and the way you incorporate those materials, that's what counts. It's about what's here. It's not about anything else. It's not about anything else. It's all about what's in your mind. So we've been in the pipe business forever.
I hadn't thought about it that way. What is this thing on your finger? I can see it from a distance.
I know. I was like, what is that thing?
I need to see. I need to know what that is. It looks like a shell.
Made in Japan. It's a ring.
Oh, it's like a drill bit almost on the tip, huh?
It's a butt plug.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. In case it didn't go good, I could always entertain myself. But
is there like a blue gel inside of it?
Ambush.
That is that's epic.
Yeah, the dude makes some bad stuff, man. He's really, really talented kid. I know him personally. You might have ever heard of the Teriyaki Boys, who there was a guy out there called Bathing Ape. It was a clothing line, and other people call it Bape. And then when he sold his company, he was probably the hottest Japanese designer, one of the hottest who's ever lived in Japan. And afterwards, he sold his company. He created a music group called Teriyaki Boys, of which he didn't really sing in it, but one of those 4 kids in Teriyaki Boys, I mean, they were working with Kanye in 1998, 1999. They were working with Pharrell and still do, and still work with Kanye. They make, him and his wife Yoon, Verbal and Yoon, they make many different types of accessories and clothing and stuff for all sorts of people, regular dudes like myself all the way to Lady Gaga. So he's in Japan, and I hunted him down, and I've bought a lot of his stuff at this point. So this ring is one of his, he's the guy, you ever see that, people wear a necklace that says POW, P-O-W, POW,
yeah.
with the little,
Yes.
like, Batman looking,
Yeah.
that was Verbal.
Okay.
That was his big, this company called Goodwood, they did the Jesus, they did the wooden Jesus. That was their big claim to fame. Well, his was the POW. So he's done all the music, or a lot of it, for Fast and Furious. And Tokyo Drift, they did, I think, most of the music in Tokyo Drift, and now he does a lot of the biggest stars in Japan and stuff like that. He works with G-Dragon and a lot of these guys. So, you know, and a guy who, when you talk to him, he's a rapper, but you talk to him and he's like a scholar, full of wisdom. You know what I'm saying? When you talk to RZA from Wu-Tang Clan, or you talk to Nas, or any of these guys, you know, I guess a big measure of their success is probably being underestimated. You know, underestimated, and that's sometimes the biggest opportunity is when you're underestimated, because, you know, even for Drew Estate, it was probably about 10 years of us being in business. We always flew under the radar, and people underestimated what our abilities were and how, you know, the points of interest which we had as our core competencies. People underestimated, when you think about the Millennium Movement. The Millennium Movement wasn't born in a vacuum. It didn't happen overnight. What is it about? What is a millennium about? You know, what is it? It's about authenticity. These dudes would rather pay $12 for a beer than a six-pack of Miller Lite or whatever. You know, no offense to Miller Lite, I mean, or any of those other brands. I got no beef with them. But who's a guy who wants to drink like the hardcore stuff? You know, I'm here drinking Stranahan's right now, right? They make every drop of Stranahan's. Every drop. This is it, man. Stranahan's, Colorado. These dudes, they make their products. That's authenticity. That is what Drew Estate brought to the game. Not just from a production standpoint. Not just from a production standpoint. But from the mental. It keeps going back to the essence. You come on Cigar Safari, we keep talking about the texture of cigar, the texture of tobacco. Over and over and over. Talk about the texture of tobacco. How much is there to talk about the texture of tobacco? Let me tell you, there's years of conversation about the texture of tobacco. Man, I have forgotten more about tobacco and cigars than, you know, you could work a lifetime. Man, living in the factory, sleeping in the factory for 14 years, sleeping in the factory. Not near the factory, not a block away, not coming in once a month, you know?
Literally sleeping in the factory.
Yeah, in the factory, sleeping in the factory. Not just for the first 2 years on the floor. That was the hard part. But I'm talking about sleeping in the factory, you know, up till 3 years ago, 2011. I was up to between 200 and 250 days a year, 14 years in Nicaragua, living in the factory, other than the 1 year that we were doing construction, which I lived at the Los Arcos Hotel.
Wow. And that was the year that I was down on Safari, 2 years ago.
I remember when you were there because I invited you.
You did invite me. You did. Yeah. It was a great trip. But that was when there was just the skeleton of that building was up there when I was there.
That's
just
right. You know who else was with you?
I do. There was a lot of people on my trip.
Matty Blaze.
No, Matt was not on my trip.
That was the year before, wasn't it?
He was the year before you.
He was the year before me. It was Matt, then me, and then Logan.
And then I was the year after.
All right. Well, Matty's cool too, man. Matty is also another kid who just really, he's good. He loves cigars, loves tobacco, and he's a real gentleman. You guys have a nice crew. I mean, Coop, and I mean, so many of these guys who you have as part of Cigar Federation. It's become this big web of like passionate tobacco and cigar fellas, and you guys really there's so many key guys, the founders, great dudes. You guys really I don't know, man, you know, everybody is the center of their own universe. It's very rare that you, even when you think about somebody like Mother Teresa, right? When you think about somebody as altruistic as Mother Teresa or this Pope that's out there now, I forget his name exactly. I'm not 100% up on it. But whenever I watch this guy on TV, I'm always impressed. What's his name?
I think it's Pope Benedict.
Benedict. I can't remember his name exactly, but I'm embarrassed not to. I'm not very religious, but this guy moves me every time I see this Pope. He's so passionate about helping people. I mean, he doesn't live fancy like all these other popes and other, you know, whatever you call these guys from any religion, you know. he's just. But don't they think about themselves at all? Like, aren't they the center of their universe in some kind of way? Not everything revolves around ourselves because, then you become just a chump. But life for us, I mean, man, I value it. My friend Kiki Berger died on the 22nd or 23rd of September. This guy was never recognized like Padron or Fuente, or even us for that matter. Drew. Kiki Berger, never had the big name, Cuban Crafters. But this was a guy, he was so selfless, he would help everybody. And sure, there were people he got into beef with a couple times, but these are guys who, like, it's just incredible to me. And boy, we're very fortunate to have had the opportunity to have seen so much at such an early stage. Like I said, a way to think about it, the earliest days of hip-hop, just an incredible experience. So much of hip-hop has transferred into Drew Estate. There's so much hip-hop in the cigar culture because there's a lot of Drew Estate DNA in the cigar culture today. You can't. It's not about It's not about being better or this or that. We don't make cigars any better than anybody else. We make cigars. We make great cigars, and other people make damn good, great cigars too. Great stuff. So it's not about better. It's being true to yourself and being authentic. And that's what I really like about what you guys are doing is that when Maddie had come down, and then the year after you, Robbie, seeing the development of what you guys are doing and what you guys are bringing to the game, it's like, man, in the slightest of ways, I say, there's just a little Drew Estate DNA, and just like there's Carlito Fuente DNA in us. When I look at the lineage of Carlito, and then Drew, and then Pete Johnson, it's not about one higher or better than the other. Who cares? But it's lineage, and you fit in lineage. Everybody has a mother and father. Everybody, every rock group, every hip hop group, every jazz musician, anybody has lineage. And if you're artistic, you'd be a liar to not say you have lineage of influence. And the influences that affected us at Drew Estate, Orlando Padron, Carlito Fuente, Henke to some degree, not to a good degree, and there's others too. Some of the unknown guys, So I don't know how we got from pipe. I know the Strata hands kicking in.
That's what I love about it, man. I mean, that's what I said right at the beginning. But I mean, on that note, we're out of time, so we're gonna wrap up our AFRN segment. If you're watching live, stick around. JD, thanks so much for taking the time, bro. It's always.
That's it.
That's for the AFRN segment. And then we're gonna.
Dude, I was just getting started.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Then we're gonna get we'll do some
giveaways. Herrera.
So guys, really do appreciate JD hanging out. Thank you so much. We're going to sign off our AFRN segment. Logan, we'll be back next week. Who do we got? Next week, across the A, right?
Correct. I'll be in India.
You'll be in India, so I'm going to be doing this show by myself. We've got Santana from Across the A coming out next week.
I'll be up at like 5:30 in the morning. I'll be there.
You'll be up before your breakfast. Guys, appreciate it. Check us out, CigarFederation.com. Thanks for tuning in the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thank you for everything you guys are doing out there in the world to keep us safe. Everybody have a great weekend and stay safe, and go Giants.
Fuck Cardinals. And we're fucking back. And JD, now you can cuss as much as you want because it's the after dark.
No, I'm gonna. What's going on here?
Is that like a?
JD, I'm going to commend you because I think you said shit like twice, and that was it. That was fantastic.
We did good. I got Sam with me now. Turn your chair over. Can you see Sam?
Yeah, a little bit. There you go. Perfect.
What's going on, guys?
What's happening? So,
kid's good.
It feels good. So we got a couple of giveaways. I've got a box from my own collection of some Liga Privada number 9s that we're going to give away, and we'll knock the giveaway out right now, and then we'll get into kind of our breaking news and then take some additional questions. or not, ask a couple additional questions. But for the giveaway, we're giving away 4 5-packs in some random Vitola of the Liga Privada number 9. To be entered, you need to email me with Drew Estate in the subject line at logan@cigarfederation.com with your full mailing address now, and I'll pick someone before we sign off. So go.
And you're going to pick how many winners? 4?
4 5-pack. And I'm keeping 4 for myself because you know they're 24-count boxes. That's how it works, homie. So we've been kind of dancing around, and we've brought up a couple of times that we've got, some news that we want to talk about. And so I'm not sure how we want to do this. I mean, I could kind of tee it off with a question, and then you guys can kind of take it from there. And I think that'll probably be the way we do it. But you've mentioned, JD, several times, Sam, how, especially when we talked about the movement and the cult essence kind of behind Liga Privada, how you talked about, well, it wasn't just Liga Privada itself. It was everything, a culmination of everything, the factory, the people, the Cigar Safari. I mean, just everything, right? So when you talk about Cigar Safari, I know these trips for next year sold out literally in like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. I mean, it was fucking ridiculous. And we talked about how, Matt went, Rob went, and I went. Tell everyone about kind of Cigar Safari. What is it all about, and why should someone go on it?
Well, I'm getting liquored up. Why don't you tell me?
You put on a new hat.
You guys know Sam. This kid's good.
All right, guys. So Cigar Safari is probably one of our most premier events that we do. You get to kind of see, literally, there's nothing there's no hold bar. Ooh, what is that? Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh, is that it? Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, we got permission from the 262 kid. He's a good kid. The Manifesto.
Did you talk to him? He said it was cool?
Yeah. We called him up. I think I spoke to one of you guys about it. We called him up and he said we could both use it together. So he's got the name going. Sorry, dude.
Yeah, so Cigar Safari is good because you get to see literally everything that we do at Drew Estate, from preparing tobacco for it to be used and to be rolled, from the actual rolling floor. You get to interact with a lot of our Nicaraguan family, and then obviously at the end you come up with your own blend. And as Rob and Logan can attest to, you guys, sometimes your blend isn't necessarily what you thought it would be once you come back to the United States. So.
You know what? Hey, I'm actually kind of happy with my blend.
Not all right.
And I'm going to give all credit to Willie Herrera, because for whatever reason, when we're sitting there in the blending room, and Willie is kind of an ominous presence. He's a big dude if you've never met him, but he's this total sweetheart. And he's sitting over there, and absolutely nobody's talking to him. I love his cigars, so I'm going to go talk to him, and he helped me blend my cigar, and 2.5 years after I blended it, it's not that bad.
Yeah, no, Willie's a good guy, and and you couldn't talk about Cigar Safari without mentioning Pedro Gomez.
Oh, Pedro's amazing.
Oh, absolutely.
Pedro at Cigar Safari. Pedro's in his element. That's the real deal for Pedro. So
speaking of Willie, we just got the Norteño just started coming in. This one's looking pretty nice. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I know you guys actually have seen it, but I don't know if everybody out there has seen these and tried them. These are hitting right now. Willie's got it going on, but on a bunch of this, Willie's on a lot of the Cigar Safaris this year.
yeah, he will be.
All right.
And I think, John, I think we got some special news for Cigar Federation and for everyone that's a member of this family. John, you wanna let them know?
You tell them.
I'll tell them. All right. So we're doing a Cigar Federation Cigar Safari this year. If you thought there was no spots left, guess what? We got you. There's one more trip. The trip's going to be May 13th to May 16th. You got to be a member of Cigar Federation in order to get on the trip. So, Logan and Rob and the whole crew at Cigar Federation is gonna release to you guys, a way to get tickets. You got to get on there quick. There's not going to be the Cigar Safari trips only got a few spots. So this year is going to be a very interesting Cigar Federation trip. We're going to spend a lot of time really getting deep into exactly what we do at Drew Estate, again in a no hold bar fashion. So
what's the deal with the how do you get in?
So you got to be a member of Cigar Federation #1.
Well, everybody watching is probably a Cigar Federation member.
Yeah, but if you're not, go ahead and register and join the community.
And then what happens for them to register?
And then Logan and Rob are gonna post a news article. I'm assuming, right, Logan or Rob?
Next week what we're going to do is, one, I just kind of want to watch the chat room because everyone's like freaking out and it's kind of fun to watch. But what we're going to end up doing is, one, you have to be a member of Cigar Federation. So if you're not a member, you're a fucking idiot. So go be a member, one. And next week we're going to send out an email just to our members on details on how they can actually go on the trip. And it'll outline, Sam's kind of covered the dates, but the cost, what we'll be doing, and everything like that. And it's something that, it's been in the works for quite a while, right? And it's something that, Sam, me, JD, Rob, all work together. And I'm going to tell you, I'm fucking stoked. Like, my wife's not stoked because I have to leave the baby, but I'm fucking stoked. So that's all I got to say about it.
All right.
Yeah,
all right.
Well, listen, that Cigar Safari with you guys out there, we want to make that super special. We're going to have all sorts of products and all sorts of things that we just want you guys to know that this Cigar Safari for Cigar Federation, all the Cigar Safaris we make special because they're just all special because of the people who are on them and little things that are happening in each different day. But we're going to put a little extra work into the Cigar Federation trip. And I know there's some special guests coming out on that trip. I don't want to say who exactly they are, but I can say that we have some very especially special guests. So there's going to be some stuff going on that trip that's going to be quite memorable. And this is going to be the over-the-top banger trip. I mean, I want this to be just exceptional because you guys, dude, you guys are... You're Christopher Columbus, man. You're charting your own destiny, and that's what I love. So we want it to be great. So how do people enroll?
So just keep on following Cigar Federation, and Logan and Rob are going to post the way to do it. I'm guessing you guys are going to send an email out or go from there. But, guys, keep active on the forums. Again, this is John and I are definitely happy to be a part of the Cigar Federation family. More than anything.
Badass. That is cool. I like that.
So, this dude carved this, man. I mean, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's
so what happens?
sweet.
We run out of time soon, or what?
No, we've got
as long as you want.
The Armed Forces radio segment is done, so now you can say fuck, shit, bitch, cockballs, whatever you want. And as long as you're respectful, just be respectful.
So you guys do a sometimes you ask questions from people who've sent in questions or stuff like that, and additional to the ones that you've asked, because I've spoke a lot.
We do.
Yeah? You got some questions there that aren't too offensive?
I mean, what, like Bill Clinton said, it depends on what your definition of offensive is, Mm-hmm. So, but no, I mean, I think there's a couple of questions out there that probably aren't too offensive. But I'm gonna want to read them very carefully before I start just spouting off at the mouth like I normally do. I mean, there's obviously a topic that keeps coming up, but we're just going to avoid that.
What's that topic? Let's hear it. The rumor?
Hey, I'm not asking.
Huh?
I'm not asking. Potentially.
I did a press release on it last week. I went on Weight Watch.
I know exactly. You're looking mighty fit too. I have to compliment you. And I think it's amazing, JD. I've been trying to lose weight. Every time I see you, you look better and better. And that's not like a gay comment. I'm just saying you look good, man. For real. I mean, I'm serious. I don't know how you do it. Like,
we need to get you on his plan, bro.
I need to do something, man. My blood pressure's up and shit. It's fucking ridiculous.
I'm a little concerned.
Hey, you know something? There's been a lot of rumors going on about Drew Estate, making certain moves and this and that. But what I got to tell you is that think about how much we're part of this industry. Think about how much we love tobacco premium cigars, the culture behind it, all of the influences that have had so much of a tremendous effect on us. I mean, we represent this industry as much as the traditional greats of Padron and Fuente and others, to the new guys, Pete Johnson and Dion and Robert Caldwell and so many of the guys. Our place in the business, you know, we are so like, we're so much in love with premium tobacco, with all forms of tobacco, that, you know, we're so committed that when I hear questions about what we're doing or what moves we're making or who we're working with or things that are going on, I sometimes scratch my head and I say, you know, are we going to stop contributing to the cigar culture? Are we going to stop contributing to the premium cigar industry, or to smokeless, or to all of the different areas that are just magical area with such a artesian product? And it's all irrelevant. The issue becomes, do you have more to contribute? Do you have raison d'etre, reason to be? If you have that, if you have reason to be, if you're here for a reason, when you're not here for a reason, I don't care if somebody pays you a whole bunch of money. I don't care if somebody does this or does that strategically with your company, calling it all fancy words, whatever you want to call it. But if you're not contributing, get the fuck out. What are you doing? Because let somebody step up who's got mad talent. Let them step up, give them their path, and get out of the way, and stop jamming this shit up with a bunch of nonsense. But if you still have stuff to contribute, you know, back to hip-hop, guy like Nas, guys like Jay-Z, RZA, guys like, you know, do they have something to contribute? Who cares what part or what not part or what they're doing with their business that's private information and this and that? The bottom line is that, do you have something to contribute to the field? If you have something to contribute to the field, then dig in, muscle up, stick and move, do what you got to do. It's all about the mental. We've talked about it. It's not about your brand, Liga Privada, or your brand, the distillery, the factory, the Drew Estate 2, or whatever it is that you're doing. It's about combining thoughts. It's about connectivity. It's about multiplicity. All those things that are at a, you know, it's not quantifiable in dollars and cents. It's not about brands. It's not about brand positioning. Or we got to do a Connecticut trade this year. Oh, I got to, you know, hey, roll my sleeves up. I'm going to dig in because it's not just in the corporate office. It's all, you know, is it for real? Like a 20-inch Zenith. Believe it. You know, we still have more to contribute because we're digging in. And we got money. And we finally are able to you know, we're finally able to be, now, I'm talking the last 3, 4 years, 5 years, you know, we're finally able to have the resources over these last 5 years, 3 years, to take some of the visions and some of the things that have been so important to us and turn them into reality for people to enjoy. And sometimes people like it. Sometimes they say, JD, you missed it on this. And then we have to analyze why. Because it didn't sell, because this and that. It's not even important. We can't produce enough products. We're ripping the factory in half. Anybody who's been there recently in the last couple of months, they see we're ripping the factory in half. We can't produce enough products. It's not about stuff that fails. It's interesting. It's interesting to see how you can push yourself, how you can bring your, you know, at our factory at this point, we're doing mammograms for women. 750 mammograms we purchased over the last 2 years, 750 and 750. So that women can find out who work for Drew Estate they're okay, because the medical insurance is not great. Preventative medical insurance in Nicaragua is not great. Is that any different than Liga Privada or Crown? It's the same. It's strength. It's strength. Everything that you do, it doesn't matter if it's a branded product or building or an area that you create new products in, or having access to staff who believe in the company. All of the things that combining thoughts, those are the things that make Drew Estate relevant and still reason to be. When we have no reason to be, then people can worry about whether we sold our company or sold part of our company or might sell part of our company or, you know, made a deal with the mafia or whatever. All sorts of news that I've been hearing. You know? All sorts of news. When there's no reason to be, well, then you got to do something else. But when you have something to add, then we're gonna dig in and we're gonna elbow in, and that's why, you know, for me, it's like it's hurtful to acknowledge, even to think about, you know, all of the sacrifices that we make, and to you can't leverage that pain. It's too deep. It's been too many years, and I love this industry so deeply. And what you guys are doing at Cigar Federation, what I see people doing like Dion or Robert or now Christian in his next round of what he's creating, and Oliva, even Nick Perdomo. I mean, the dude is doing great stuff. Great, just tremendous stuff. The cigar makers in Nicaragua, and these boutique guys, there's some boutique guys out there right now. I study their material. I study it. Look at this dude's shit. This dude is creepy good. I like what he's doing.
Caldwell.
Yeah. That dude is real good. It's not just the imagery, man. His cigars are good. His imagery is good. He's passionate. He's an artist. You know? We had dinner with him one night. We were like, this kid is for real because he's an artist. It's not about, you know, is this business a commodity? You think tobacco's not a commodity? Logan, is tobacco a commodity? You're a genius.
I wouldn't call myself a genius. I put a lot of thought into it. And I was, you know, and I'll give you my short answer, is that tobacco, if you pull out the people, at the end of the day, people use a 99 Crow, you know, Creo 98, Habano 2000. But when you look at it from an industry perspective and when you're in it and what you do with tobacco, it makes it not a commodity.
Robbie, what do you think? Tobacco, is it a commodity or not a commodity?
You know, I don't know. I mean, Logan's answer confused me a little bit.
And that's exactly why it was said that way.
No, Logan's answer was Logan's a genius. Let me tell you, Logan's answer was very good because his answer was based on the fact that, you know, how many people could create Corojo, right? Mm-hmm. How many different farms can take the Corojo seed and grow a Corojo tobacco? So how much is that tobacco? Okay, it's $6.50 a pound for Seco, $7.10 for a Viso, and $7.80 for a Ligero, right? That's what a commodity is. It's a product that can be mass produced in a way that there's a spot market for it. There can be a spot market for Corojo, especially if demand goes up or down, this or that. But really what he said that's interesting is that it's the personality that's behind the product that takes it out of the realm of commodity and gives it life that can't be reproduced.
Agreed.
When you go to Nick Perdomo's factory and you smell his factory when you're in there, you can buy all those same materials as Nick, but you cannot reproduce his cigars. When you go to Drew Estate, you cannot reproduce our cigars. You cannot. You just can't. You can't. When you go to Padron, you cannot reproduce those cigars because that's why it's not a commodity, because it's somewhere between magic and science.
Alchemy.
Yeah, it's alchemy, like my boy Phil Zengi. The shit's alchemist. You know, it's that combination. You know, why does magic not exist? Because you never saw a ghost, or you never saw what somebody might tell you is magic. You know, it's not the Stranahan's.
You sure?
What? What?
Well, no. What the
Stranahan's? I'm telling you.
I like the way you said that. It's right in between magic and science, and that's right where art falls. Right in between magic and science. In my mind, anyway. That's art.
You're a strange person. You know. Hey, listen. I was just on the road, including Nicaragua, for 8 days or something, for 35 out of the last 37 days.
Wow.
And some people say to me, dude, I understand why it's so hard to stay on your diet because you're on the road and you're traveling, and I'm like, what do you mean? That's not why it's hard to stay on my diet. I can't stay on my diet because I'm a fat fucking pig. I fucking love eating this shit. What are you talking about? I stay in nice hotels. I stay at the Marriott, the Courtyard. It's $120 with a Marriott. You know what I'm saying? They got fucking room service, son. They got room service. I get all sorts of egg whites and whatnot. But my problem is I like eating all that fat shit, appetizing, okay? And eating all that appetizers because some dude, we talked about it earlier, cheese is cheese, pepper is pepper. One's a little better, one's a little worse, But when the magic happens, the magic of creation, that's what I love. And, you know, what I see going on in Nicaragua over the last, since I've been there, which has been over 15 years, when I see what's been going on in Nicaragua with the magic that these guys are doing, I mean, not just the factories who are there, because you guys know I'm very proud that we own our factory, that we actually have the authenticity of making our own cigars. But when I see what Pete is doing, he continues to amaze me. The guy's just incredible. And what guys, you know, it's just incredible where we've taken the business. It's just become a magical business, and it's inspiring. So it's a golden era, and there's going to be a lot of great, you know, there's going to be a lot of great things coming out of Nicaragua. And a lot of these boutique guys, I see you guys, I watch a lot of your interviews, I watch a lot of the cigar chats and pairings, sharings and pairings and this and that. You guys, you're really hitting on all cylinders right now. I've believed in Cigar Federation, huh?
You have. You have.
I've believed in what you guys are doing because it shit is off the wall like Lucy Ball, man. It's just, there doesn't have to be anything right or wrong about what you're doing. And you guys keep up the innovation, because everything that you're doing, man, you guys are making Liga, Privada, and Opus X, and everything great in what you do from a media point of view. And I obviously can't speak for any of these. You know, I say Opus X or something like that from a standpoint of a fan, of a person who appreciates greatness. And I think what you guys are doing is greatness. My boy at Cigar Press Magazine, these guys at Cigars for Warriors, what are these guys doing? Cigars for Warriors, they're changing the whole, you know, when you bring cigars to a dude who's deployed, how do you do something better for your country if you're not in the military than supporting your military? How can we stand as United States citizens and seeing what's going on with Ebola? My mother's a registered nurse. She's 80 years old. She was a registered nurse at the biggest mental institution in the world, Pilgrim State. My mother was served as a nurse for 35 years, a registered nurse. When I watch these people talking about these nurses getting this crap because these dudes weren't giving them protection, and they have this hump of shit out there who comes on TV saying, this is not a problem, this is something no one should be nervous about Ebola. They have these nurses out there, the front line of our whole system of helping people. You know, so the tobacco business, the cigar world, it's not just about tobacco. It's not just about any one component. It's about, you know, I got a broad view on it, and Stranahan's has been helping tonight. So I want to thank the guys at Stranahan's in Colorado for their sponsorship for this show for tonight.
You know, I actually just looked up their website. I can't see where you can find that stuff.
Oh, dude, it's badass. Let me tell you, my boy Rob Dietrich, he's the master distiller there. That dude is badass. I mean, Stranahan's is killing it. Angel Envy, MB Roland Distillery in Kentucky. There's so many great distilleries that right now are just doing just exceptional things. But tonight we had the Stranahan out, and you can get the Stranahan in like 15 states. It's distributed through Proximo, which that's Jose Cuervo. They also have 3 Olive vodka,
Mhm.
and they have Kraken rum,
Mhm.
and they have a number of different brands. Just a great company. But so look, man, you guys are good people, and supporting Cigars for Warriors, supporting Techo, giving back a little bit when we can. We can always do more. Um, we just been really fortunate, and for you guys to have us tonight, this is something a long time coming. And you guys know how, not just me, but everybody here at True Estate, we really do respect you guys, what you're doing. You're new media. You're really, truly a rebirth of media. It's a beautiful thing. And as you guys grow, you'll learn to be, if you're not already, good kings. You two especially. But your team, and Coop is a great part of it, and Maddie, and so many of the guys, even the guys who aren't, the name brand guys, part of Cigar Federation, but your most loyal guys who promote you and push you, and they walk over to me at different events and they go, "Hey, dude, thank you for being part of Cigar Federation." And I'm like, "Whoa, nice to meet you. Hey, are you part of?" No, I'm just a fan, but thanks for being part of what we do.
It's cool.
It's,
Tumbling.
it's just it's class, man. You guys are class, like the Ant word.
What the ant word?
Yeah, the Ant word. You guys check out Serious Thugs yet?
Dude, I'm like about as non-thug as you come, man.
No, seriously, Serious Thugs.
All right.
Have you heard that group?
Is that what you were playing at IPCPR?
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know. We were playing all
You're
sorts
not smaller.
of. We gotta play stuff for the. When you're at the show, you can't just go straight like. You can't just go straight with JD. Hip hop stuff. You gotta mix it up a little bit. Otherwise, people they think you're delinquent. But I was probably playing it. I'm gonna look for it right here. Yeah.
There was something you were playing when we were all up there sitting there talking, drinking the Macallan. I can't remember what it was, but you were real excited about it.
Yeah, that's that Serious Thugs, man. Check it out. You're not a baller. That stuff is tight, man.
All right, Logan, you're gonna have to download that for me, okay?
Nice.
I can see Logan shaking it to that.
Yeah, Logan's cool. Logan knows what's up. You know what time it is, Logan. It's Stranahan.
Yeah. Stranahan time.
Serious Thugs.
Thugs. You ain't a baller. Shot caller.
You
We
missed,
took care of business, right? We got everything squared away?
We are good, man.
We're good. So we need. We've got Cigar Federation, Cigar Safari coming up in May. Got to be a member of Cigar Federation. Logan's going to email everybody next week with some information about it.
It might be an odd time because I'm in India. So if you get an email at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
I have to apologize for that.
It might show up at a random time, but it'll happen next week.
Next week and a half. You got to be up till 2 in the morning to get on the trip.
So you got to pay attention. That what time zone is India in? You're what, 7 hours ahead?
No, it's 10 and a half. And what the worst part of it is that 30 minutes fucks you all up. So right now,
Excuse me with the language, bro.
Yeah, if you could tighten that up, that'd be good.
Can you tighten it up a little bit? Nah, man, I can't. I'm drinking my Mizzou mug.
What are you drinking?
Tea, man. I'm not a huge drinker, but I love tea. Spent all that time in India, Assams, Darjeelings, Ceylon teas. Whenever we do a pairing show on teas, man, that'll be my jam. Otherwise, I'm out, bro.
You able to see around here or what?
Yeah, give us a tour. What's that guy doing right there?
That's your punch guy.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in this room.
Yeah, it's some pretty cool stuff, man. You know what?
Yeah, that's...
Is that Nick?
Yep. It's a lovely dude. Miss him. Look, you guys, peace to so many people who've helped us out. Thanks for being one of, when I say one of them, there's a whole crew of you, so it's a big whole jamboree. But you guys, classy people with a great vision and enjoyable to be around. When you guys came to spend time at the IPCPR show and we sat upstairs, I had one of the best times of the whole show because not only did we relax and not only we had some drinks and we were laughing and stuff like that, but you guys make it keeping it fun, and that's what I need because that's what it's really all about, man. You got to enjoy every single day because my friend Kiki Berger, he's gone now, and he laughed and smiled every day, and no matter what crap we were going through, he was always laughing and smiling and happy. And the lessons are that every day has to be a day where you value your opportunities and value of the things that happen. So, we got to be good to each other. You guys, thank you very much for having us, and thank you for what you're providing to everybody. So, peace to you. Say goodbye, Sam.
Later, dudes.
Bye, Sam.
JD, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming out for our 100th episode.
Yeah, thanks for having us, dude. That was a cool thing to do. Much respect. Thanks for remembering Drew Estate as part of your master plan. We're very appreciative of it, and we like what you're doing. God bless you guys. Be careful, and smoke in moderation. Please smoke in moderation. Okay? And here, I'm going to hand it off to Sam. Be good. We'll see you guys soon. We'll have a great time on the Cigar Safari. And thanks for everything, okay?
Appreciate it, brother. Thanks, man.
All right. Peace, man.
Have a good night, man.
So on that note, Logan, let's we wrap this thing up, huh?
We'll pick our winners here. And
Oh, yeah, we gotta pick the winners. There you go.
I'll do it right now. We've got Chris Bros, Leland. This is like some fancy French name. Lemourix, John Ulrich.
Not John Ulrich.
Whatever, Ulrich.
I hate that guy.
Apparently, he's from the fucking Cornhusker State. And then Michael Hathaway. You guys will all be getting a 5-pack Liga Privada in a unspecified vitola.
I'm going to cut this cigar in half.
Hey,
Like
wait,
Which means you get 2 cigars.
fucking
exactly.
Twinkie-ass looking fucking thing.
All right, guys. Appreciate you hanging out, checking out the 100th episode of Cigar Chat. It's been a lot of fun talking with JD.
And Sam.
And Sam.
Hey, Sam.
Can't forget Sam. But Sam's so quiet. He kind of just hangs out in the corner, and he's just like, hey, guys, how's it going? Sam's like everybody's buddy, but he doesn't speak up.
He's a good kid. There's too many. You guys know Pedro Gomez, right?
Oh, we know Pedro.
Oh,
Pedro is like, whenever you talk to Pedro, he makes it seem like it's the most important thing in the world to him that he's talking to you right at that moment. And that's a talent, man.
That's a talent. I love that guy.
To get that involved in the moment. He does a great job. If you guys haven't been on Cigar Safari, hopefully you can come on our trip. But if not, you got to get down there because Pedro's still doing the safaris, right?
Oh yeah. He's gonna be doing the Cigar Safaris for a while. We were trying to phase him out because he's now becoming this big, U.S. guy and the whole thing. But it's good for him to recharge in Nicaragua. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It's good for him to recharge in Nicaragua because he goes down there for 3 months and he's having fun and he's doing his thing. So anyway, all right, I gotta go because we're about to get stupid.
All right.
Later, guys.
All right, guys. Appreciate
Later,
it.
guys. Thank you.
Thanks again, like I said, for checking out Cigar Federation, Cigar Chat, episode number 100.
In the butts.
Logan, you got any parting words of wisdom?
I mean, I all I gotta say is a great show, and frankly, I can't believe we've done 100 episodes without fucking killing each other.
I think it's beneficial that we live in different time zones.
We've separated more than just one time zone, which is a must.
Yeah, that's
It's a no, man. It's been cool.
No, it's been good. This was a fun episode. We finally got JD on to talk. I think we asked 2 questions, and he went on for an hour. But so we'll be back, like I said, next Thursday. We've got DeCrossier with Santana with DeCrossier, so you're going to get a very different personality next week. But his cigars are great if you haven't checked out those yet. So That'll be next week, same time, Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So again, guys, appreciate all your support. Keep an eye on your email for updates on the Cigar Safari trip. And everybody it's Thursday, right? Everybody have a good weekend. Wait, let's check the score of the game here.
Birds.
Logan doesn't care even like nearly as much as I do. Hey,
No.
the Cardinals are winning 3-2 in the going into the 5th inning.
Hey, man. A lot can happen.
3-2. There's a lot of baseball left. But
Oh, fuck yeah.
anyway, appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Adios.